I kicked my husband out after he made creepy comments about my kids ice dancing. Our family was shattered that night. So, I'm a 36-year-old woman with two wonderful kids from a previous marriage, Mia, 14, and Liam, 16. They're incredibly close siblings and have been since day one. For as long as I can remember, ice dancing has been their world. They've been skating together ever since they were little kids, like 4 or 5 years old. For those of you who don't know much about ice dancing, it's a beautiful, expressive sport where two skaters perform choreographed routines on ice to music. It's about storytelling, synchronization, emotion, and athletic skill all rolled into one. It's also a sport that requires the pair to be physically close, holding hands, lifts, spins, sometimes even hugging tightly to execute moves smoothly. Now, I know some people outside the skating world might find a little unusual or even uncomfortable to see siblings so close in their performances. But honestly, that's just how the sport works. Mia and Liam's routines are always fully appropriate and choreographed professionally to suit their age and the competition rules. Nothing suggestive or inappropriate. They're very conscious of this because they've been taught well and have amazing coaches. My husband, Mark, is 38. We've been together almost 7 years now. He's been a big part of my kids' lives, and Mia and Liam have always called him stepdad without hesitation. For years, he was supportive, going to competitions, driving them to practice, cheering them on. He seemed proud and genuinely involved. But about 2 years ago, something changed. I don't know exactly what triggered it, but Mark's attitude toward my kids' skating shifted in a way that started to bother me deeply. At first, it was small comments. Offhand remarks when we were alone or with the kids nearby, like they're always so wrapped around each other on the ice, or it's kind of strange how close they get during those routines. I'd immediately shut him down. I told him repeatedly that ice dancing is supposed to look close, it's part of the sport, and that they're siblings. I reminded him to respect them and their passion, and that those comments made the kids uncomfortable. But he kept making them. Sometimes he'd say things when the kids were within earshot, which made me so angry. I started noticing that Mia and Liam would tense up or go quiet whenever he said stuff like that. We had serious fights about it. I was clear that those comments were unacceptable. I told Mark over and over that insinuating anything inappropriate between my kids was wrong and disrespectful. To them, to me, and to our family as a whole. Mark, on the other hand, insisted he was just noticing things and that maybe I was too sensitive. He never actually said outright that he thought anything inappropriate was going on, but the way he kept bringing it up made me feel like he was planting doubt where none should exist. After the last big argument, he promised he'd stop. He said he understood how it looked and how hurtful it was. I believed him. Then, a few nights ago, we had some friends over for dinner. It was supposed to be a relaxed, fun night. The kids, us, friends. Everyone sitting around the table, sharing food and stories. At some point, the conversation turned to ice dancing. One of the friends asked how Mia and Liam's training was going, especially since it's off-season. Mia and Liam proudly talked about their practice, their new routines, and how they're staying in shape even when there aren't competitions. And then Mark spoke up. He said something like, yeah, they train hard, but honestly, it's still kind of weird how into it they are. I mean, they're siblings, and they're all over each other on the ice. It feels a bit much. The room went dead silent instantly. Mia looked crushed, like she wanted to sink through the floor. Liam didn't say a word, but his stare could have frozen Mark on the spot. Our friends gave an awkward laugh and tried desperately to change the topic. I was in shock. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. I wanted to scream at Mark right then and there, but I held back because the kids were there and I didn't want to make things worse. As soon as the guests left, I lost it. I pulled Mark aside and told him exactly how utterly inappropriate and hurtful his comment was. I said I couldn't believe he'd say something like that, especially in front of Mia, Liam, and our friends after all the times I told him to stop. He acted like it was no big deal, like I was being overly sensitive and dramatic. He said it was just his opinion and he didn't mean to hurt anyone. But it was more than a small comment to me. It was a pattern of disrespect. And worse, it humiliated my kids in their own home. So I laid it out. I told him I don't want him around me or the kids if he keeps making those kinds of remarks. I said if he can't apologize and respect the boundaries I've set, he needs to leave. I didn't scream or throw things. I was calm but firm. He packed some bags and went to stay at his mom's. Mark's mom immediately called me. She was furious, saying I was being dramatic, that Mark was just concerned for the kids, and that maybe I secretly thought what he said looked weird, too. I hung up. I don't have time for that nonsense. Mia and Liam told their dad, my ex-husband, what happened. He called me right away and said I did the right thing, no hesitation. That meant a lot because even though we're divorced, we've always put the kids first. Meanwhile, Mark's been blowing up my phone with texts and calls. He says I'm tearing the family apart over a throwaway comment, that I'm overreacting, and that I'm punishing him unfairly. I've had some time to think, and honestly, I still feel I did the right thing. The kids deserve a home where they feel safe and respected, not judged or scrutinized for something they love and have worked hard at for years. I've given Mark multiple chances to stop the comments and respect the kids. He promised, then broke that promise in the worst way possible, in front of our friends and the kids themselves. I'm not sure if I could have handled it differently. Maybe couples therapy could have helped. Maybe I should have insisted on an apology before kicking him out. But I also think some things are non-negotiable. Mark's disrespect toward my kids crosses a serious line. AITA for kicking Mark out? Was I too harsh? Could I have handled this better? Or was this the right move to protect my kids and myself?